Right. Phew. I'm going to get this off my chest. I will start this live stream with a prayer. And I'll say, anyone who comes to see this video, this live stream, shalom. I owe it to my Heavenly Father to have gotten through what I've just gotten through since Thursday. Oh dear. Resilience. Well, there was PC Soper saying, ignorance is bliss. Oh, my dear. My dear. Oh, there goes, got the bruise. I beat you, did I? Well, I'm not a horse, my love. The bruises are here still somewhere. Where are they? Where you yanked me in like a dog or a horse. You might think that ignorance is bliss. But we are in Revelation 13, my dear, and you're going to need a lot of prayers because you don't realize what is coming. Hear no evil, speak no evil, and what was the other one? See no evil, whatever order. Yes, well, anyway, let's start with a prayer. That's the best place to start. Father, I thank you so much for what you got me through since Thursday. I could not have got through it without you, Abba Yahweh. I owe everything to you. I did not stop praying once. I could not have got through that without you. You alone. By the blood of your Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, I could not have got through this. No way. Absolutely no way. And my partner can't cope with it. And he brought me to your Kodesh name. And if I didn't have him, as I said, I would have jumped off those cliffs long ago. Chris's brother, who picks up bodies from Beachy Head, I would have been one of those bodies. But you, Father Yahweh, you alone, you saved me. You alone. You got me through this. You alone. Yes, and I thank you, Father, for anyone who sees this, who gets inspiration, who can get the word out there, pass it on. Even if no one watches this, I am filled with your love. So, yeah. So, I'm going to get this off my chest. I'm still wearing the dirty clothes from then. So, basically, I had gone down to the police desk on Thursday, the 7th of October, on a whim. And, well, I'm going to start by saying, actually, just to say, I want to say, in the early hours, I was interviewed by Matt Taylor, the naval, it's military PC police officer who exposed Katie Bourne in these elections for her crimes and covering up corruption. She's the crime commissioner for Sussex Police, and I want to thank Matt for letting me do that, because I do talk a bit, and I didn't want to. I've got so much to say. I don't like to take over things, but I am not. I might be all smiles. I might put on the front that I'm okay, and I have to laugh it off. But, such is the British stiff upper lip. you know, it's just you know, when I do crash, you know, because I will get, it's all part of the psyops thing that they use. I mean, I call a spade a spade. You know, you've got this MK Ultra thing, but when they know that you're not well and you're brutally honest and you're in the category of the human trafficking, and they know so much about you, this unusually vulnerable yet intelligent, unusual kind of, because they're not used, you know, they see mentally ill people with mental health problems of any kind as stupid, but these people are sick. They are psychopaths. And they used the psyops on me. Believe me, they used the phrases. They put me through the usual rigmarole that they like to. And yeah, and I'm so used to it. I'm sort of well rehearsed in it. So you can't break a broken person, you know. So you're going to have to develop a very black sense of humour. So anyway, yeah. So I'd gone on down to the police desk on Thursday on a whim, and I thought, oh, I need to get this off my chest. And I did not see this coming. Well, you never do you? It was all orchestrated. There was a female behind the desk and an old man, because I wanted to say to them, who was the person that I spoke to last time in July in the Cavendish Hotel when I was staying there, because I wasn't safe to go back to the property because police were being called out because of the antisocial behaviour. And unbeknownst to me, I had been mentioned in the Herald, according to the next door neighbour, Steve, who said that he'd got into a fight with the police when he was telling them that they're bullying me, they're locking me outside, and this drunken nutter who was on a criminal tag was following me, calling me, "You're an effing nutbag, and you're going to the nut house," you know, right in my face, following me to the toilet, locking me outside. One time I called NHS 111. It was in the early hours. I was freezing outside, trying to get away from her. Then I was advised to call the fire brigade. This is a place that's got a bad reputation. No, I didn't know. This is where I was trafficked to from the Meadow Field psychiatric unit in Worthing. That's where they I've got evidence that Caroline Ansell MP had perjured herself in emails saying, "Oh, the agencies are going to help, you know, I'll get them to help you." And then days later, I've been on the phone to the local government ombudsman and a social worker, and then the police did what they did to me in October up on Beachy Head. They beat me. I had reported a guest in the hotel threatening to drag my stuff out of my room because, despite the fact that I'd spent £2,000 on the Citrus Hotel, the fact that this was a hotel that had failed me when adult social care sent me there through the from the DGH hospital, and they'd said, "Oh, we don't." Back in 2018, we don't accept people from adult social care. That's what they put me through. And despite the fact that in June of 2018, I'd been reported missing in the local Herald, and they wouldn't accept me because they don't accept, and that's where the hospital had sent me to. So what the local Illuminati Freemasons have done is they've orchestrated all of this. They've put me through so much. I put, in December of 2018, I put a 6-inch knife through my arm. It went right through. There's the scar. It went through there to there. It went right through. I stabbed a knife right through. Apparently, I've since learned, I don't know from where, but you can release demons from piercing the skin. I did that in the Strand Hotel where Steve took my possession. Steve from the food bank. He thinks I was playing, Darren. Steve, I know you're praying for me. You got to believe me now. You can see this now. Tell Leslie from the food bank that she thinks Freemasons are Christians. It can be whatever you want to call it, as Darren says. Anything you want. If it's not under our Heavenly Father's name, Yahweh, as Darren says, it doesn't mean anything. It's all pagan. It's all one room in the house of deception. But they've put me through absolute hell. So I've just gone off on a tangent. I'm sorry, but it's all linked up to all the torture that I've been put through over the past 5 years. I'll start again then. So we're 11 minutes in and I still haven't really started. I just want to, I've scribbled down what I want to say. So, because I want to get it off my chest. So, on the 7th of October, on Thursday, had gone to the police desk to say that this lovely lady, and I hope she forgives me. I'm not going to say her name, but it is important when I mention her condition, because I'm being told, go to her then. Go to her for help. Because every agency have closed all ranks on me. They've made me sleep rough. As John Alexander Patterson said, the ex-naval fraud investigator that I met in the psychiatric unit, who's been assassination attempts for exposing child abuse, satanic stuff, corruption, the BBC, everything on a worldwide scale. When he went to the Scotland Yard and the Ministry of Defence tried to disappear him, that brave 71-year-old man, as he said, don't kill yourself because that is what they want. He has been put through unthinkable torture. It's been an eye-opener for me, which is why I have to disassociate more than I ever have before. And this is something that Angela Power Disney speaks about when she says about disassociation, because she's the only person who has made a couple of videos that really do speak to me. There's so much about the MK Ultra thing with the celebs and that, but this really is off the scale. So, yeah, so I'm at the police desk telling them that on Thursday, that this cancer patient was attacked in the street for trying to help me. A drunk went up to her and started on her when I'd come out in my dressing gown to say, because this woman that was on a criminal tag and wouldn't leave me alone and all the antisocial behaviour. And I said, she's going to act as a witness. This is all on Thursday. I'm speaking to the lady. I'm going to get their names. There was an older man next to her with grey hair. And I got a shifty feeling about them, both of them. Because at one point, I noticed, well, you pick it up. You pick it up when you first start speaking to someone. But I noticed the way she looked over at him like, like that, sort of rolling the eyes. I've seen that look a lot with certain people. I've had 25 years since school trying to get help with my mental health. I've got trauma from when I was a baby that I've only just in recent years learnt about, but I have been trying to get help since the 90s when I was at school, since I was 14. That's the first time I saw a child psychologist. And in my early 20s at St Mary's House in Eastbourne, I'm talking and I look up and I'm seeing the rolling of the eyes. People they've got their clipboards and they're getting fed up listening to me. And I thought, something's not right here. They're the ones, surely, that aren't right. So when a person, I'm sitting there with one of the OTs with Darren when I've been put through all this hell. I've had violence, domestic abuse before my partner, Darren. Attempted rape, lost my mother to cancer, no one helping me, trauma that I didn't know about. And then I'm crying and they're like, can we get to the point, please? And people are walking out of the doors at 5 o'clock because we're on British time. Oh, this is what happens when people don't get the help they need. This kind of thing. So this woman behind the police desk was basically doing the same thing that I'm used to seeing. I thought, right, okay, to make a mental note of that. Oops, I just spat on the screen. And so she then brings out, at one point I said to her, when I mentioned this lady, this beautiful, special, I don't know what I'd do without this person. And if she's watching, I don't know what to say. It's like you've been sent to me, a bit like my partner. It's very confusing when you're vulnerable. And I said, and I think these were used as a sort of strike one, strike two, let's get her. I told them that I knew that there was a stronghold for Freemasonry in Eastbourne. The woman on the desk, the man, there was something going on, I think, or I now realise, because he had his head down and he was on the phone like this. He wasn't on the phone when I first started. He could have been on the phone to anyone. I'm not going to be paranoid, but I just got a shifty feeling about them. And I'm right, because I'll tell you why, because they orchestrated this. If you're watching, everybody's going to know about this. So yeah, I said that I knew that there was a stronghold for Freemasonry. There was a guy that works at the library who closed the library, the downstairs theatre. He said, do you think the Illuminati are in Eastbourne? Well, they are down here in the southeast, which is why a man can't get gigs up in the north of the UK. It's easier, for him to expose the music industry up north. And he mentioned Adamant, and I know about Adamant and MK Ultra because in the Baphomet poses that he does and his demons, and you can see the Masonic disassociation flaw in his videos. He wrote to me about his demons, and I was heavily influenced by Adamant, but that's another story. Yes, it's easier to expose the Illuminati up in the north, but not down here in the south, because this is where it's all at. The walls have ears. So what I didn't realise, I actually said to them, I said, Matt Taylor said to me on the phone that they don't like me because I tell the truth. No, they're scared of me because I tell the truth. So they said, they went away. This is after she's done the sort of smirk and rolling of she didn't roll her eyes, The others have rolled their eyes. It was just this smirk that she gave, a knowing smirk. She went away and said, I've brought this PCSO out for you. This, because they're all actors and actresses, yeah? It's like when I used to think that being a receptionist was a hard job. And I've never known so much rudeness and ignorance, and ignorance of you know, people just don't know how to pronounce words, and they've got such bad grammar and stuff, and utterly, you know, it's like, it's the same kind of thing, you know. You just, I might as well just be talking to this. I'll get more sense out of this, talking to this, you know. So this PCSO, I'm talking to her. I've told them that Matt Taylor and told me on the phone that it was dangerous to tell the truth and about the Freemasonry. And who do they bring out? PC Soper. So they go behind the desk to where the police thing is, where the police HQ is, and where the council offices are, and the police. It's all merged as one. It's just basically one big load of, excuse my French, licks. So they come out because the police. There used to be a police station that was separate. Now it's just one load of BS. So they come out. So I'm sitting down talking to this PCSO. It's about to turn 5 o'clock, which is when the police desk closes. And PC Soper and PC Austin come out. I'm sitting down and I look up, because I'm sort of standing up and then sitting down when I'm getting animated, talking what I'm talking about. And PC Austin comes up and he starts to speak. Right, hello, Bryony. You know, I said, yes, we've met before. Haven't I seen you on Beachy Head? I know damn well that they were PC Broadway and PC Austin were two of the same ones who came out when I was attacked by that Aisha who poisoned next door's dog, and attacked me whilst I was in the bath back in November, when I'd only been living in the property for a few days, trying to get over what PC Austin, PC Soper and PC Broadway did to me on Beachy Head. My beating in October. I was trying to recover from that, and then this demented tenant is banging on the and it was like a scene from The Shining horror, because there were wood chippings in the carpet. I was terrified for my life. That she'd had men there when she wasn't supposed to, and I was like, I was dripping with a towel wrapped around me, and she attacked me even while I was in my room. I was determined to climb out of the window, even if my towel fell off me, and I was that scared for my life. I thought this individual was going to kill me, and I thought, if I have to go into the street naked, I will. That's how scared I was. I don't know what these people are capable of. Well, PC Broadway and PC Austin and another one turned up. PC Austin, who's a real thug, he found it amusing. I said, oh, you find it funny, do you? I thought she was going to kill me. He previous to that, he had done something to my wrist like this, saying to hurt me, even though I'd again jumped out of the bath on a separate occasion about a year previous to that, and thrown clothes on and was kneeling at his feet, showing that I'm no threat. Oh, the Home Office train us to do this. This is what they're like. PC Broadway came round before I was attacked by the drunken tenant on the 26th of September, which I've live streamed, and the police won't do anything about it. Just prior to that, PC Broadway came round because I had anonymously left a note on Beachy Head with someone else's name and number on it, because I've been blocked from finding my late mother's elderly best friend who apparently has cancer. Oh. And I haven't seen her for years, and I don't have anyone else. So I've been isolated, put in isolation. Yeah. So they basically, PC Soper and PC Broadway said, you're coming with us. We're arresting you. Just like that. You failed to attend court. So it's thanks to Andy Devine that I because I haven't gone to prison on this counterfeit court case, this fraud. I never received court papers, no wet ink signature. There was no warrant, which includes a red stamp, because they all think that the masses, that we will do as we're told, because the Nazis, you do as we say. It's not under the law. It is these Freemasons, these occultists, because that's what the Nazis were, who had taken over. The Nazi symbol is an occult symbol. They used to do occult practices in Germany during the war. The Nazis did. They take over like that. So anyway, these cowards, when they got me in the car, I said to PC Soper, sitting right next to me, I said, are you on your oath? I said, PC Broadway, are you on your oath? He said, I don't know what that is. I don't know what you mean. I said, yes, you do. You took an oath when you, yes. He says, it's recorded. I said, PC Soper, are you on your oath? Yes. Right. So whatever they have written down, whatever they have said that's recorded, they have perjured themselves. Because even this bogus solicitor who said that I was acting in defence for what they did to me. You remember Jenny Haynes, who was embarrassed by me on Facebook? She said to me that she was confused by the whole thing because it was a welfare check. So how did it turn into an arrest that said that I was beating them? Because she said I was acting in defence. She suggested that I have a probation officer. She said, this is your first crime. The last solicitor, though, however, had said to me, did the pub agree for you to go in there? I said, yes. They told me to sit down and we'll come and serve you. I've still got the Beachy Head pub menu from October last year. And leading up to that, I've got the emails where Caroline Ansell MP, who's never wanted to meet me, I've had abuse from Stephen Lloyd office. And Councillor Stephen Holt, I hope you are watching this, because Councillor Stephen Holt, I'm going to email you, but I haven't been well. I am running on energy that I don't have. This is just fake energy. I don't sleep. The doctors... I spoke to... On the Friday night, on Friday the 25th of September, Dr. Caro of the Lighthouse practice, and you can look him up, he likes to help people in all aspects and areas of their health. I said to that unpleasant receptionist, does that include tenants that are being terrorised and attacked in their own homes and cannot sleep? Because that day, and I'm such a shame that I didn't record him with my dictaphone, he said I was going off on a tangent, and then in the early hours of the Saturday, Shabbat, the 26th of September, I live streamed my last live stream where I was being attacked. I never got out on the Friday night to get the sleeping tablets. Sopiclone is the only thing that works for me. And this dear, lovely cancer patient couldn't understand why the doctor's surgery didn't want to help me. Now, this receptionist, Aggie, whom my partner doesn't like, even she said to me the other day, we don't have hours and hours to talk. This GP that I have, Dr. Stewart stopped me from putting up a poor review of the Lighthouse practice when I said Freemasons brackets Satanists. And I said to him, I've never heard of the Freemasons. I said, how can you not have? Because doctors have to take a Hippocratic oath. Freemasons take an oath. And Freemasons. This is what I replied to him in the email. You have to take a Hippocratic oath. So do the Freemasons. Freemasons are usually made up of people like doctors. I've never heard of this organisation. No, of course you haven't. He's been living under he was born yesterday, And he's Scottish. So, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, come on, people. Look at the history of the Freemasons and Satanism and the world's oldest religion of their occult practices. Look it up, people. Just look it up. I pray in the name of Abba Yahweh, you will look this up. Because my GP would not let me put up. I said, what about a high priest of Satanism in America went on GMTV to say they want Satanism to be recognized as a religion? So what have I said that's so offensive? Because he emailed me. It seemed like a threat to say, we can't have you putting this up, otherwise we will be having problems. So, Dr. Stewart, what did you mean by that? What did you mean by that? Because I will leave this earth telling the truth. I may not know the facts because I repeat what other people tell me as the truth or facts, but I can only say what I know is truth. Nobody knows the facts. But if you speak your truth, which is what I'm doing, you can't go wrong. So, PC Soper and PC Broadway, they drove me in handcuffs to, I was unbelievably calm. I'm getting used to it. I've told them before I've told them, why don't you get me a bedroom here? So they said, do you have any COVID symptoms? I said, you understand that these are coping mechanisms, talking like this. Don't be fooled by what you see. They said, because if you do have COVID symptoms, we'll have to put you in isolation. I said, you're putting me in a cell anyway. I know. So they got me there. Stand on the where there are two stickers with you know how it is. It's the same old. They just put me through the usual torture that they like to. But this is procedure. Stand where there are two. And as I said, PC Soper pulled me in, and as if I was a horse or the bruises are there, so you can you see? Because I'm going to ask for video footage it's somewhere there, somewhere around there. That's where they put the handcuffs. And someone, I mean, Dave, who called out to me the other day, said to me, they won't leave her alone. He's a rough old school boy from London. He reminds me of John Boy. The ex-army, bald and burly, and he said, I won't leave her alone. He said, look at her wrists. He said, I bet you could get out of those handcuffs. I said, well, if they don't make them tight enough, but they do. That's why I often get bruised. They make them really tight. They got me in the cell. Oh, can I just say, before I forget, at the police desk, that horrible lady behind the desk who, helped orchestrate this with the older guy, I would say because I just want to say this before I forget. I wanted to know who it was who said to me in the hotel, because they'd given me fake bail conditions, which I didn't have to, which, when PC Franklin Nesta said, if you don't sign these bail conditions, we could end up putting you straight in prison. They're making it all up, all this rubbish. I had gone down to the council one time when they were putting me through so much trauma, it's too much to speak about, but they kept making me homeless when I complained about bed bugs crawling on me, and I took photographs they'd make me, and I had all these other issues. And one time I was in the council and I shouted at the top of my voice that they were Satanists. And I told this lady, because she was like, I said, I want to know, the first thing I said when I went into the police desk was, who was it who said to me, the last person I spoke to on the police desk, who said, well, if you don't shout your head off, people will help you. Because I said, do you realise what I've been put through? This is one of the first things that I said. And she said, oh, I don't know who said it. I said, well, because I said, oh, sorry, do we not know each other? And she sort of said, no, we haven't spoken before. And I said, well, I want to know who it was, and I'll tell you why. And then she said, Bryony. I said, oh, you know my name. And she said, oh, yes, because I remember you used to come in here shouting, I saw your behaviour. I said, oh, well, if it's not you, for all the things that I've been put through. And I said, I just wanted to tell you that it was a civil legal aid manager on the phone that said to me, that affirmed me, made me feel better, and said, well, I'm not surprised when I told him that I'd called them all Satanists. He was on my side, a civil legal advice manager. I just wanted to say that. So fast forwarding back to going to the police cell. So they put me in the police cell. They said they told obviously it wasn't working, trying to get PC Soper, the very criminals who assaulted me on Beachy Head. It wasn't working. The fact that bringing them out, because Jenny Haynes, the solicitor, had actually said to me, she'd never met me before, and this solicitor from Cramp and Mullany, do you know, the one who's not a member of the bar and all that, she'd said to me, she'd never met me before, and she said, I know the police are a trigger for you. What made her say that? You do, anyone who's in the know about British MK Ultra, this is why I need to speak to Angela Power Disney, because they were trying every trick in their satanic little mental book and it wasn't working. So one of the females said, we'll deal with her. So they took me, come on, Bryony, doing it. The lesser of the evils were brought along, if you know what I mean. The nicer of the evils. I would just like to add that what they did to me up on Beachy Head, when they took me to the police cell that time and threw me down and stripped me half naked after beating me, they had my head squashed down so much. I thought at one point I couldn't breathe, and the females were saying, "What's that, Bryony? Sorry, we can't hear you." You know, they really are psychopaths. This is I've heard about people being murdered by the police from kneeling on their necks and doing all sorts. Because it took me back to a time when my sister sat on my head when I was a child, and she denies it ever happened. I'm praying for her. She thinks she's not a her, she thinks she's a he. But it brought me back to that when I was screaming my head off and I couldn't breathe. She denies it ever happened. You see, I'm used to this with my sisters. It never happened. You were horrible. You were horrible. Yeah, I was 5 years old. I've got my older sister sitting on my head. Yeah. You know, it's the same thing. So anyway, I'm used to it. I've had this on Christian camp. I've had bullying at Brownie Guides. Angela Power Disney wants me to make a video on Freemasonry, witchcraft and Brownie Guides, because I did a Freemason ritual initiation as a child into the Brownie Guides that I've only recently discovered. So anyway, this is a lifetime of bullying. So they've sat me down in the police cell. I've got my hands handcuffed behind my back, and they're telling me to take my trainers off with the laces tied up. I said, I'm not taking off my trainers without undoing my shoelaces. Take them off. I'm not taking them off. And then I was threatened with being floored on the ground. I think that's why I've just realised that's why they gotcha. That's why you had the padded mat already on the ground and not on the platform where you usually have it for a bed. You had this set up, Sussex Police. You had it set up for me. You're cowards. You're not too clever, are you? I knew it. I knew it. There's a little girl there, a little girl. They're little. I'm 6 foot tall, but they've got to bring in a whole group of them. I will floor you. I said, why? Take off your shoes. I can't take them off. How can I? I've got my... Now, Sergeant Elms told my partner that a lot of people can take off their shoes whilst handcuffed. Well, I'd like to see that. You find me someone who can undo their trainer laces with their handcuffs behind their back. And because, you know, that would be a trick for... that'd be one hell of a trick. Unless I slip my thin wrists out. But they do them up so tightly that they leave bruising on me. So I just, yeah. So that's, oh, hello. I think we might have the trolls watching. Hi. They come and go at the start. Sometimes they'll come, sometimes they'll go, and then they'll leave a little comment. That's for the men. I love doing that at the camera. That's for the men in the they're not real men, of course. They're not real women. We have to pray for them. So yeah, so basically that's off the list. Yeah, so they left me in there initially with no toilet paper, no blankets, wasn't given a drink. I had a dry mouth, obviously, from all that. Just left like that. I hadn't eaten either, so I waited a while for them. And but obviously, the first thing I'm thinking is, demand your rights, because they're supposed to give you your rights. I buzzed on the buzzer, and this is what they said to me. They said at some point, we have it that you refuse to have your rights. Do I seem like the sort of person who in their right mind would refuse their rights? Who would? Even if they didn't have mental capacity. Who? We have rights. We have sovereignty. That means that we're entitled to it automatically. You give us those rights. We don't have to ask for them. You give them to us. You don't even know common law, really. So anyway, they said to me, you can't make a call. And then they said I could make a call. And then when I did, they blocked that call. They gave my partner a hard time. He was suffering. He's not well. He's told me something that, I mean, have you seen Loose Women? I don't have a TV, but when I've been in the hotel, they've said stand by your man because men won't talk about their mental health. Well, my partner is very timid. That's why you'll never see him. And he's told me something that he didn't tell me before, but he is really, really struggling. And I'm struggling because I think that he's been gaslighting me. And these psychopaths have made me think that he has been emotionally abusing me. Yes, he's done things he shouldn't have done, but they're not helping me like public servants because they are the Nazis torturing me. So do you see where I'm going with this? So as is Sergeant Elms. So my partner was given a hard time by Sergeant Elms, saying that we've had people who can take their shoes off with handcuffs on. Yeah, but they wanted me to slip them off. My mother used to say, you'll break your shoes. The number of times I've pulled the sole from the with my cheap trainers. I don't want to break my trainers. Thanks. I want to take off. They're done up tightly with double knots. But I just couldn't believe that they were stood there for about, it felt, if it was 5 minutes, it felt like 20 minutes or half an hour of, do you know what I mean? Because they're that demented. They're like, I mean, as I've said, give me, even the older sergeants, give me any day little children, toddlers that are badly behaved. Give me them any day in comparison to what they've put me through. So, yeah. There was this CA, custody assistant called Cara, who was telling me to shut up and then hung up on me. They kept saying, we have other people to see. No, you don't say. It's not like I was just deliberately buzzing. No, because at one point they deliberately switched the thing off. At one time they got the bog roll and threw it at me through the I've nearly had my fingers taken off when I asked for soap, and I went into graphic detail. I said, I've defecated in the toilet. I said, you haven't given me soap. I can't touch this food. So they said, you either take this food or not. That was on a separate arrest. And they took the food, took the slot of that sharp slot, cell door slot. I said, you could have taken my fingers off. Who did that? And they wouldn't tell me. They won't tell you your names. The last time I was in there, when I spoke to Andy Devine on the phone, I've definitely got a troll who's keeping an eye on me, because I'll get one viewer at the start, then they'll go and they might come back. But anyway, onward and upward. So the last time I was there, CA, what was his name? Because they're called custody assistants and they get the title CA. What was his name? CA Bolt, CA something. I can't remember now. But he said, before passing me over to Darren, he said, "Oh, my partner," he said, "he sounds as effing barking as he does." She said, "Do you realise what he's just said?" And I'd been calm up until that point, because you have to stay calm. And I said, "You don't know anything about me. I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about someone else who was carted off to the psych unit." Does that make it okay then to refer to someone who's been carted off to the psych unit as effing barking? Because the other demented CA assistants were saying he never said that. No, that CA assistant said he said it about someone else. Does that make it okay then? Because I would never refer to anyone who's mentally ill as effing barking. But these psychopaths are very sick in the head. They need help. Watch Crime Bodge videos. I told them when they were taking me in there, I said, "Have you seen them? Narcissistic personality disorder. That's what they all suffer with." So they did eventually give me a blanket and a drink and that awful food you can't, one mouthful, and they put you through all that trauma so that you can't eat anyway, and it's got an undertaste. You have one mouthful and that's it. So they gave me water. They threw toilet roll at me. Yeah, they said I'd refuse my rights when I hadn't. They wouldn't give me the information on that. When I asked to speak to my partner, they kept cutting off. When I asked to speak to Andy Devine, because it was more important that I spoke to Andy Devine than my partner, because he has the knowledge and I have him to thank for getting me out of this great big fraud. The last time I was in there, I spoke to Andy on their phone in the cell. This time they were saying they were interested in, who is Andy Devine? They're always asking me. I'll tell you why. Because I've let them know my vulnerability. And they're using that vulnerability. I've told them everything about myself. So they've kept it. No, everything noted. Never tell a police officer. I've told them everything. They think it's just me and my partner. So every time I've mentioned Andy Devine, who's Andy Devine? Andy Devine. I mean, even PC Soper said, "Oh, yes, I've met Darren, but you haven't met Andy Devine, have you?" And they kept saying, "Who's Andy Devine? Who's Andy Devine?" I'd say, "Well, an acquaintance." So in the end, I said, "He's my brother." And they went, because they kept saying, "Oh, we can't, his number doesn't work." But when I said he was my brother, they went, "Oh." And I hope Andy Devine doesn't mind me saying that, but he has referred to me on Facebook as sister, the same way that he referred to John Patterson as his brother, because in a sense, spiritually, yes. I mean, biblically, you have brethren. I mean, obviously, I'm not a part of a cult or anything, but we're talking about people. So, but anyway, this is about someone who cares about someone, and my sisters haven't been there for me. They don't know anything about this, unless, of course, they're hearing all the lies from Sussex Partnership and Sussex Police. So Andy Devine, they said that his work number doesn't work. We've tried ringing it. Oh, he's changed the number. Because I said to Andy, I said, well, that doesn't make sense, because he's able to text me. He's been sending me text messages. He's been replying to my text messages from. So how can he have changed his number? The number does work. I said in text message, I hope that you wouldn't do something like that. Crumbs. You know, I'm someone crying out for help here, and I would eat my hat. I would do more than eat my hat if I thought that Andy Devine would do something like that. But anyway, you know, he's the one I have to thank for getting me out of this very frightening. When I said I was scared, I did not stop praying once. People, there is only one, there's a God of this world. You cannot serve two gods. There's only one. And there's only one that's going to save you. And it has to be through the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach. That's the only way. The only way. Absolutely. I mean, they were gaslighting me. It was so evil that at one point in my delicate state of mind, I thought, is praying making me suffer? Is my Heavenly Father? Because these Freemasons are so effed up. They're such evil, psychopathic, sick people. They believe that good and evil are the same thing. That's why they're just so, that's why, well, anyway, there we go. But there we go. At one point, one of the CAs, and an older guy, said, I've got people, my children are at university. I thought so. You're saying that this is torture. Do you know what torture? You're not being tortured. Do you know what torture? I said, do you know what psychological warfare is? You can't get through to them. You cannot. They are chosen, even without them even realizing it. They are chosen for these roles. They are picked out like fruit picking. You will know a tree by its fruit, and they are selected for their roles. And I think, so Sergeant Elms came to the cell and he said, have you ever studied the Second World War? Yeah, I even studied the Holocaust when I was about 8 years old at school. And then at one point I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I forgot to say. I rang on the buzzer and I said, oh, I forgot to say, I've actually been to Auschwitz. And because Sergeant Elms just wanted to make a point of coming to the cell, standing in the door like this and saying, do you know the atrocities of the World War II? How can you compare us to the Nazis? I told them what John Patterson said. I totally agree. I said, I was illegally forcibly injected, thanks to Sussex Partnership, for saying I'm demanding that they give me the phone to call my landlady because I had been trafficked by the council and the police, lost my accommodation and everything. And, my possessions and everything. And I was pinned to the bed, to a hospital bed, because